Hi, my name is Sean O'Kane with ChipEstimate.com. We're at Design Automation Conference in Anaheim this year, 2010, and we caught up with Joe Rash from CebaTech, and I want to ask you a little bit about your new GZIP product. People know about the PK-ZIP and the WinZip for compression for files, but tell us a little bit about the GZIP.
Sure, it's actually an excellent question, Sean. GZIP is actually very similar to PK-ZIP and WinZip. In fact, GZIP is using the same base protocol called deflate. They're all industry standards. But GZIP specifically is used in embedded operating systems like Unix, BSD, Linux, those type of operating systems. And it's typically used in data networking and enterprise storage spaces. But they all do the same thing. They basically are compressing in a lossless manner files and data streams.
And the advantages and benefits to the accelerated IP, for the hardware accelerated GZIP, right?
Sure. Well, I mean, when you think about GZIP or lossless compression in general, the general benefits are pretty straightforward. You're basically taking a file or a stream of data and you're compressing it, so you're shrinking the size of it. So in enterprise storage applications, if you can reduce the size on disk or reduce the amount of data that actually has to go out to the disk drives, you get improvements both in cost and capacity, as well as the throughput to your I/O subsystem on your disk. In data networking applications, by reducing the amount of data that has to go over the network, you can actually reduce IT costs associated with WAN applications and WAN services, like your link out to your branch offices. But also, you can improve user experiences. So if you have a smartphone or an IP-enabled phone, which has a browser on it, and nearly every browser and every web server runs the GZIP protocol. So your user experience on your smartphone can actually be improved by running the GZIP protocol. One downside to the GZIP protocol is it's actually pretty software intensive. CPUs are struggling to keep up with the growing demands that you see in data networking and storage. There's a lot more data being transferred to mobile devices. There's a lot more data needing to be stored. And the general CPUs, even the high-end Intel CPUs, can no longer keep up. So that's when customers come to CebaTech and they start asking us, how can we improve our system performance and by moving the GZIP protocol into hardware? And that's what we do. We bring IP cores, hardware IP cores for end users that support the GZIP protocol. It's an industry standard, and by moving it into hardware, you can improve your system performance by as much as 10 times. But even more importantly, you can actually, by moving the protocol, this bottleneck protocol from the CPU into hardware, you're actually freeing up the CPU to do other things. So if you're running a web server, and the web server runs the GZIP protocol, which they all do, and you want to make money through e-commerce transactions on your web server, you actually can free up the CPU on that server by moving an industry standard protocol like GZIP into hardware, and now the CPU can process more e-commerce transactions per second. And so that's real dollars to the bottom line for a company.
So it's improving, I see quickly, time to market, performance, and tremendous cost savings, just by saving in storage.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a no-brainer, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you move it to hardware, you get the performance benefits, you get the cost savings, and we offer GZIP protocols in lots of varieties to help FPGA and ASIC SoC customers. And we also have something we call the CebaFlex platform. It's an FPGA-based acceleration platform that allows us to not only validate our own IP, but it also gives us a vehicle to deliver the solution for prototyping for end customers. But there's a number of customers who accelerate the GZIP protocol, and they're not ASIC and IP customers, but they want a platform for actually going to production. So we have a whole suite of solutions around compression. And in addition to compression, we've got encryption and hashing protocols. So we're all about really accelerating application protocols and data networking and enterprise storage.
And you can access the CebaTech IP catalog on ChipEstimate.com. Just quickly go to ChipEstimate.com and just type in CebaTech, or just go to our vendor list. You'll quickly find their whole IP offerings. Anything else that you're going to be offering or down the line, and maybe?
It's a great question. We actually just added a new IP core in the GZIP family to our portfolio of IP cores. And this one is very specific to data networking. We call it our multi-stream GZIP and GunZip IP cores. And they support hundreds of thousands of concurrent connections. So if you go back to this web server analogy or the web server application, we now have a core that does the standard GZIP protocol for a few streams. But if you have an application specifically in data networking like WAN optimization, switches and routers for data networking or web servers, and you need to support hundreds of thousands of concurrent users at the same time in a data networking fashion on a packet by packet basis, we just introduced the multi-stream GZIP and GunZip cores for that specific application.
Gee, I'm thinking of a very large company that does routers. Yeah, but they could handle that, huh?
They could.
Yeah.
I think all them and all of their competitors, I think, would do quite well.
Yes. Anyway, again, we're here with Joe Rash from CebaTech. We're here at the Design Automation Conference. Go see CebaTech on ChipEstimate.com or go to CebaTech.com. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean.